Welcome along to Premier League today. Another Monday morning, Liv, and another huge story to kick off the week for you.
Yes, there's big breaking news from Spurs. Manager Nuno Santo has been sacked. 17 games in charge, 47% win percentage. The club have decided that Saturday's defeat at home to Manchester United was the last straw and that a change was needed.
And this is how the Premier League table looks for Tottenham Hotspur after that defeat against United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Remember, they were top of the table, weren't they, after 3 wins at the beginning of the season. They sit in 8th, 15 points from their 10 games, 5 victories. They haven't drawn a single one, but 5 defeats as well. And this is what the club have had to say this morning. The club can today announce that Nuno Santo and his coaching staff have been relieved of their duties. Fabio Paratici, managing director of football, said, "I know how much that Nuno and his coaching staff wanted to succeed, and I regret that we've had to take this decision. Nuno is a true gentleman and will always be welcome here. We should like to thank him and his coaching staff and wish them well for the future." He goes on to say a further coaching update will follow in due course. Let's take you over live to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, speak to our reporter Alex Aljo. Alex, it's all happening this Monday. Look, an air of inevitability. A lot of Tottenham fans weren't happy after that defeat. There was all sorts of reports that Nuno would go over the weekend. It's happened on Monday morning. What's the latest? What's everyone saying there?
Yes, Will, 124 days after he was appointed, Nuno Santo is no longer in charge of Tottenham Hotspur. It's the first time in 13 years that Spurs have lost half of their opening league games. And the games they have played against Premier League opposition, they haven't won by more than a 1-goal margin. As you said, they did start well, but things have been going gradually downhill. The performances have been so poor as well. There were emergency talks at the training ground yesterday with Chairman Daniel Levy and Managing Director Fabio Paratici. They were talking about whether to sack Nuno now or leave him in charge for a little bit longer while they tried to find a replacement. He reported to training as usual this morning, but that was obviously when they told him he had been relieved of his duty. So now the big question is, who is going to come in and take over here at Tottenham? We believe they're in talks with Antonio Conte. He was actually the manager they wanted in the summer, but they couldn't reach an agreement with him. Conte said he wanted a year off. He only left Inter Milan in May. He wanted to switch off from football, focus on his family. He'll also want a lot of money to spend at Tottenham to strengthen this squad. So it just depends whether Daniel Levy is prepared to give it to him.
And Alex, that Manchester United game at home ended up being the final straw, but this decision wasn't just made because of that result, was it?
I think that was just the trigger, Liv, but yeah, it was such a poor performance here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs playing with fear, they were timid, they lacked any sort of energy or motivation. But in fact, they played ineffective, underwhelming football throughout the season, and the only good performance really was Manchester City at home. There have been so many dismal, bleak performances, no creativity, no improvement really from the Mourinho era. This stat is absolutely unbelievable. They haven't had a single shot on target in their last 2 hours and 16 minutes of football since the first half against West Ham 2 weeks ago. The fact that Nuno was given a 2-year contract also proves that maybe he wasn't a long-term option, and maybe that's why the players didn't buy into him, didn't buy into his ideas. To get more reaction on Nuno's sacking, I'm joined by founder of the Daily Hotspur, Jamie Brown, and a suffering Spurs fan as well. We were just hearing from Nuno Santo. He said, "We're not on the right track." Realistically, there was no way back for him, was there?
No, I was at the stadium on the weekend, and it was a very difficult atmosphere to be at that game. As you said, there were boos kind of for substitutions for his, and then they were calling, "You don't know what you're doing." So I think at that point it's kind of no return. I think you see with the stats as well, we've covered the least amount of ground in the Premier League this year. So I think that kind of suggests that the players have lost, that he's lost the players as well. So yeah, I think it was kind of at the point of no return for Nuno. I think every manager kind of deserves time, but you've got to kind of see, you've got to have a plan, you've got to have a vision of where we're going, and I think that was the main thing. Spurs, we don't know where we were going on the pitch as a team, so I think that's kind of why he had to go. A lot of the statistics, we're near the bottom half for pretty much every stat, so I think they were fairly damning. So yeah, I think it's got to be the right decision for him to go, I think.
He wasn't actually the first choice manager in the summer, was he? He was maybe down there at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
And Who do you think should come in now? Who can turn things around here at Spurs?
Yeah, I think anyone who's going to come in is going to have a very difficult job in turning things around. I think, you know, under kind of the management of the club, obviously we know Spurs aren't a club that spend a lot of money, but to be getting back into the Champions League and where we want to be, we need to, you know, there's a lot of money that needs to kind of be reinvested in this team. So whoever comes in is going to have a big job. For me, my absolute number one choice would be Conte. I think that's just top 3 managers in the world for me, Antonio Conte. That would be a real statement, and that for me, I think a lot of Spurs fans maybe would forgive the past 4 months if we were to get in a manager like that. So he, for me, would definitely be the number one choice for sure, Antonio Conte.
You can blame the manager for the poor performances,
yep,
but you actually have to look at the players as well. I think there was one moment with Ben Davies was taking a throw and he looked to the left, no one, he looked to the right, no one. He was desperate.
That's
he
right.
said, look, there's no one to throw it
That's
to.
right.
How much blame do the players have to take as well?
The players definitely have to take some of the blame. I think for me, I mean, look, they've got to have something to believe in. So ultimately, it does come from the manager. The manager's the ones that gives the tactics, that makes kind of everything fit together. But yeah, the players, I think there was also kind of seemed like there was a lack of effort from the players as well, and that was very disappointing. And you know, as Spurs fans, the bare minimum we want is to see kind of attacking football. We want to see players trying, and on the weekend we didn't see that, and that's kind of why we gave the reaction we did. That's why there were boos. So yeah, the players definitely shoulder some blame, but I think there's talented players in this squad. You know, you see Harry Kane, he's not performing at the moment, so yeah, for sure something had to change, and hopefully the new manager can kind of reinvigorate these players, because I think we've got a talented squad. So yeah.
Well, let's get some player reaction now and hear from Højbjerg speaking after the game. He said the performance was unacceptable, and he also admitted that he left some things unsaid.
Yeah, to show up like this, to present ourselves like this, yeah, it's unacceptable. And at home, where should be fireworks and should be determination and character really being pushing high, wasn't there at all. And yeah, I better not say too much.
I better not say too much. Jamie, what do you think Højbjerg actually wanted to say? Did he want to blame someone, pointing a finger?
I think perhaps so. Players in this team that aren't giving their most. I mean, one player as well, Giovanni Lo Celso, he's a guy who goes and does very well for Argentina, comes back to Spurs and he's very disappointing. So maybe, you know, he is talking to his teammates. Højbjerg, for me, is kind of one player that really gives his all, and that's why a lot of Spurs fans really like him. Harry Kane, perhaps the same. Of course, we know he did want to move in the summer. His performances have been very disappointing and definitely below par. And obviously, I think there was a section of supporters that were booing Harry Kane on the weekend because we've been very disappointed with how he's been performing. And maybe there is kind of a lack of effort from Harry Kane at the moment. I don't think it's completely that. I think that mentally he's still kind of unsettled after losing the European finals over the summer, missing out on a move to Manchester City. But yeah, I think he's definitely pointing the blame at some of his teammates for sure, because he's kind of he's not the captain, but he very much acts like the captain. But then, of course, I think Nuno as well. I think for me, you know, I think a lot of Spurs fans, we wanted to see something from our manager. We see a bit of character, and in the press conferences we never see that. So I think for sure the players have felt that as well, and I think that's kind of what he's referring to as well.
You watch Spurs week in, week out, home and away. When did it all start going wrong, gradually downhill? Can we look back to the Champions League final back in 2019?
Yeah, so I think obviously Jose Mourinho for me was the wrong appointment. It's not the right fit. He was not he's not a Spurs manager. Spurs fans, we traditionally, Tederis Deuce, the motto, we like to play attacking football. Jose Mourinho didn't play that. And then, of course, you know, we've tried to rectify it from there. I think as well, we left 70 days trying to get a manager in, and then, of course, we've had to go for our 7th choice target. So, yeah, I think kind of ever since the Champions League final, it's all been downhill from there.
And looking ahead now to the rest of this season, they do have some more favourable fixtures coming out now. Hopefully get a new manager in as quickly as possible. Do you think they can still make a success of this season?
I think so. I think, you know, you do look at our league position, we're still kind of in and around there. I think a lot of the teams, you know, Liverpool drew on the weekend, Man City lost as well. So obviously we're not going to challenge for the title. That's not something I see Spurs doing, but maybe getting back into the top 4. If you can get in an ambitious appointment, as we spoke about, like an Antonio Conte, Mauricio Pochettino, I don't think that will happen. But if you can do that sort of level appointment, then maybe that might galvanise the players, galvanise the team, galvanise the club. I think that would give the sport such a lift and something to believe in. That's all we really want, and we haven't had that this season. But maybe a big appointment would do that. So
see the Spurs fans smiling again.
That absolutely, because it's been a very, very long time. Mauricio Pochettino's reign was amazing. We had 5 years of brilliant football, getting to Champions League finals, going to places that I don't think Spurs fans ever thought we'd go. The last 2 years have been completely opposite. It's been very difficult football to watch. So we just want to see kind of attacking football, or just success as well. You know, maybe Antonio Conte wouldn't play the attacking football that Spurs fans necessarily want, but I think given how good he is, I think that he'd get a lot out of these players. So just getting an ambitious appointment, that would be really good if we can do that. But yeah, want to have something to smile about as a Spurs fan finally.
Jamie, thanks a lot. Great to hear your thoughts. Well, we will be here until the end of the show. If we have any updates, I promise you'll be the first to know.
Alex, good job. Thank you very much. That's Alex Aljo live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's all happening. Dion Dublin's in the studio, and you guys can get in touch as well. Use the hashtag PLFans. What do you make of that sacking of a Nuno Espirito Santo at Tottenham Hotspur? You don't have to be a Spurs fan to get in touch. Just let us know. Use the hashtag PLFans. What's your reaction to that? Were you surprised?
Not really, no, because results have been terrible. Some of the performances have been awful. I know a lot of Spurs fans, and they're chomping at the bit to get rid of him, to be honest with you. So, and you know, 17 games in all comps. It's not a lot, 10 in the Premier League as well. Just not the football Spurs fans want to see. They're used to seeing some, you know, pop it about, work hard, you know, just give me value for value, so to speak.
It was a difficult time for Nuno to come in anyway. We all knew that he wasn't first on their list of managers. But, you know, he came in at a time where Harry Kane's future was uncertain, so he was almost doomed from the start. Yeah,
he wasn't. He'd gone into a sort of a shaky ship, really, because when the best centre-forward in the world, the England captain, Yorker, everything, he's a leader of the football club, and there's murmurings about him and stuff, and he stays, and you've got to try and get him back on the side. The players that are playing with Harry Kane are thinking, Harry's going, I don't want to play with him anyway if he wants to go. So, yeah, it just wasn't right for him. It was a difficult gig for him, but this is all hindsight, you know. We're experts now, and we can say he was the wrong man, but how many people would have said that before?
To be fair, Dion, a lot of Tottenham fans were saying he was the wrong man from the beginning, and they didn't want him at the beginning.
There's more saying he was wrong now.
Yeah, but it was a great start. But did that perhaps disguise stylistically what type of a manager he was? And he did a fantastic job at Wolves. Yeah. But, you know, at Wolves, we knew the kind of football he'd suss a team out first half. Yeah. They played big on the counter-attack. Again, to the style side of things, not what Tottenham fans wanted.
Not really, and Spurs, with all due respect to Wolves, Spurs is a bigger club in stature, you know, bigger stadium, probably a bigger fan base as well. But he had 4 years at Wolves, didn't he? Championship, 3 in the Premier League. And he took his time. He had the right players in the right places, and they got results. And when he was at Wolves, Wolves were a very good side, and they did the double over United one season. So, you know, maybe he needed more time. I don't know.
Do you think he was too similar of a coach to Jose Mourinho in that sense?
Maybe that defensive sort of stay with the fullbacks, and then when we've got the ball, let's try and break, all that kind of thing. Maybe Spurs fans are sick of seeing that. Maybe they want more flair. Maybe they want more from their players. Sometimes you have to. I know when he went off.
Flair. Lucas Moura is a player that brings flair, and that decision was taken really badly.
Is that the nail in the coffin when you've got a stadium like that? And everyone bangs on about the stadium at Tottenham. It is absolutely fantastic. It's up there with the best in the world. But when the majority of the stadium are booing your coaching decisions, you're Daniel Levy, you're Joe Lewis this morning, and you wonder why they've had to make that decision.
Yeah, and the picture of Nuno in the technical area. Lucas Moura comes off. I was looking behind Nuno and all the fans, and they were stood up and they were going,
"The lonely place."
What are you doing? It's like, wow. I felt for him, you know. But he has to try and make decisions.
Yeah. And now, where do Tottenham go? Because, like I said earlier, they had such a hard job in the summer trying to find a replacement for Ryan Mason or Jose Mourinho, whichever way you look at it. Now, who do they go for? Because there's not that many coaches out there available. Antonio Conte is the one that Alex said is rumoured. So can you see that happening?
You know, I'd like to see someone like that at Spurs, because Spurs right now need a manager that's going to say, right, if you want to get me in, let me take control of the whole football club when it comes to the football side of the game. This man here is an absolute winner.
Tried and tested, isn't it?
He's a winner. He's won more or less everything. He'll take no prisoners in. Players, fans, hierarchy. I'll do it my way. Leave me to do it. And I think if they do get him, it'd be a massive coup to get him. It really would.
6 major trophies as a manager.
Yeah.
Look, it took Tottenham 74 days to replace Jose Mourinho. Paratici, managing director of football, came in from Juventus after 12 years there. There were all sorts of things going on behind the scene. We talked about Harry Kane, that there has been a lot of distractions at the club. Whether Nuno should not get involved to that or not, that's a different argument.
It's hard as a manager, isn't he? I think successful football clubs have a manager that take charge of the whole football club. Wenger did it, Sir Alex Ferguson did it, Mourinho did it. They're allowed to take charge. I'm not sure a manager going into Spurs is allowed to take charge of that football club because there's a few others there that want to do that.
You look at their position in the table, down to 8th. It could be even further down if Everton, of course, win tonight. But can this manager change spark a revival, do you think, if they do hire the right person and they can?
Liv, they have to, don't they? They have to, you know.
They can't afford to make another wrong appointment now.
No, they can't because, you know, where are they? 15 points. It's not good enough.
10 points off the top of the league already, 10 games in.
It's a long way off. Even at this stage, 10 games gone, it's a long way off. You're fighting to get back to where you want to be. Yeah. Spurs should be there, fighting for top 4 all season. They are that bigger club.
Look, you feel sorry for Nuno. You said that already. Had he had a Harry Kane that was in the form that Kane has been in over the last 4, 5, 6 years in the Premier League, it could have been a different story. 1 goal in the Premier League. I know that's disguised by 10 in 16 games, whatever it is, in all competitions, but Europa Conference League. Yeah. Kane hasn't been at it for Nuno, is the top line.
No,
really.
He hasn't. I don't think Harry Kane is the main problem. I just think their performances have been poor. They cannot defend. They're just all over the place when it comes to defences. I mean, this position, normally, you're kind of saying this is going to be a goal because Harry Kane's there and he's got to make the right decision. Son will make his way into the box, and it just hasn't happened for them.
Do you think that the manager's first priority has got to be either sorting out the defence or trying to make Harry Kane feel not at home again, but he just doesn't look like he's as interested anymore?
No, it's... Watching Harry Kane, being an ex-centre forward as well, he doesn't look fit to me. He doesn't look sharp. You know, he's got the perfect frame for a centre forward. He's possibly the best in the world when he's on it. I haven't seen Harry Kane that I know for many, many games. Games.
What's that like? Because you've been in that situation where a manager's been sacked, you're at the training ground, you know, maybe even in the morning, and you see him walking out with his box and his plant and he's off, and you're waiting for the next guy to come in. There's a lot of chit-chat between the players at this stage.
Depends if you're playing. If you're not playing, get out. If you are playing, Gaffer, I'm sorry you're gone. But, you know, I've seen it happen a few times now. And it's sad for them, but life goes on, unfortunately. Footballers are selfish people, and they only worry about themselves. Managers have to go, get away, get some headspace, get yourself ready for the next gig.
Yeah, Dion, thank you very much. You get yourself ready for the next gig because we're going to speak to you in part 3, I think. So you come.
You're coming back.
I'm here and ready.
You're coming back.
Always good to speak to Dion Dublin on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday and Thursday and a Friday.
Every day. Right, let's head over to Simon Crabtree now and get the United angle because, Simon, it turned out to be Manchester United's win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that has ended up getting Nuno Espirito Santo sacked. The pressure on Ollie has gone for now. He must be pleased with that, but he knows that pressure comes with the territory, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure it's gone completely, but it does feel a little bit better, I'm sure, for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer waking up this morning. A clean sheet, 3 goals, a more confident, a more spirited performance from them. And the thing is with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I read it actually over the weekend in terms of, you know, how he's kept the job for so long. It's because the people at the top trust him, they like him. He has settled the ship here. You know, the chaos of when Jose Mourinho was in charge has gone now. You know, the Louis van Gaal fractious nature maybe has disappeared. There's a romanticism I read this weekend about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that people do like, and people do like here. But it's all about now keeping that positivity going. It's all very well picking up the points after that, well, as far as Manchester United fans are concerned, that dreadful result against their nemesis here the previous weekend against Liverpool. They've got to keep that positivity going because there are some big games coming up, and especially at the weekend here against their nearest and not so dearest.
Yeah, like you say, Crabbers, look, the pressure's never off for long, is it, when you're a club like Manchester United and results aren't going your way? It's one that will relieve a bit of pressure, as you mentioned, for some time. And there has been a style overhaul there. I just wonder what they do going forward. Do they stick with that 3-5-2 that worked so effectively for them going forward for the rest of the season?
Super rapid, that change, wasn't it? He had 4 on the Tuesday and put every little bit of effort they could in every single second on the training pitch down at Carrington, and it clearly worked. You could see the lines in between the banks of the 3, the 5 and the 2 were closed off. When the backs moved forward, the fronts moved forward, and it kept it really tight, and that shut up Spurs for a lot of the occasion as well. Look, Varane coming back helped them, didn't it? That gave him an option after almost a month out. The link-up between the two, Ronaldo and Cavani. Can he play that every week? You've got a 36 and a 34-year-old. The combined age of that, Will, is even older than most of your jokes. So he can't play that every single game, surely. But for now, it works. We'll see what he does in the Champions League. You would think that maybe he does that against City, because you remember it paid dividends for teams against City with that formation, for United with that formation before, so maybe he'll do it again here at the weekend.
We enjoyed that one over here, Grabbers. We've got to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, because there's been a whole lot of talk about him over the last couple of weeks that, you know, he doesn't do enough running, he doesn't do enough pressing. That game against Spurs just showed why Cristiano Ronaldo is in the side. What a finish, what an assist, but also his offside goal as well was also a brilliant finish.
Oh, it's salivating, isn't it? Again, another one of those goals where he's even ready. He knows where it's going, whereas some players might react once it's gone past the defender. His shape, the pass, by the way, from Bruno Fernandes, we must mention as well, because Bruno Fernandes, remember, scored on his debut, or on Ronaldo's debut, I should say, against Manchester United, and he hasn't scored since. He's become more of a creator, and that pass absolutely shows why. Ronaldo, if he hadn't scored in the game against Tottenham, that would have been his longest drought in the league since the first time he played for Manchester United back in 2012, a massive 5 games. He's incredible, isn't he? 36 years old, and he can still do goals like that. You can show me that all day long. The technique, the power, the angle, it's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Is this the best season ever for goals of the season? I don't know. They keep coming, don't they? But, yeah, it's just more whether he can do it every week with Cavani as well. But in that game, it certainly worked. When Cavani scored his goal as well, you know, the little dink that it went through, just really good stuff from United. But it's only one game. In a lot of fans' minds, especially, as we say, off the back of the Liverpool game here, he has to keep that going.
Yeah. What is it about Ollie, though, Simon, that he has this knack, doesn't he? When he's feeling the heat, he can pull results out of the bag and actually go on a run. And that will be the proof in the pudding if he can do this after the Spurs win.
Yeah, of course it will, and there's many occasions of that over the history, as you say, but he does have to keep that going. I mean, I know I said it before, but he's got a lot in the bank with Manchester United fans in terms of the amount of goals he scored as a player. And every season that he's been the manager here at Manchester United, he has improved, hasn't he? So that's what United's at the top want. We keep hearing from them, you know, they do believe in him, but we also know how quickly it can change. Not quite as quickly as 17 games and you're gone, but if they win in the Champions League during the week, that will put them, I think, 5 points clear of Atalanta with 2 games to play. So you'd think pretty much almost there and qualified. So there's a little bit of pressure relieved as well. And then here at Old Trafford against City at the weekend. You look last season in the matchups between the two teams, not one home team scored in the 3 games that they played them, twice in the Premier League, I think it was once in the Cup as well. So they'll need to get a good result here to keep that going, and we'll see, like you say, if he can perform results that he's done in the past. But look, it doesn't change. You're the manager of one of the biggest clubs on the planet. You'd be worried if there wasn't pressure on them. So Alex Ferguson had to work many years to create the behemoth that is Manchester United once again. Solskjaer has got it there. Has he got it there? And have the players got it as well to continue backing him and putting in those performances?
Thank you very much, Simon. It's always lovely to see that beautiful face getting soaked by the Manchester rain as well. I do enjoy that when we're nice and cosy on the couch in here. Don't get dry.
Right, we are reacting to the news that Nuno Espirito Santo has been sacked by Tottenham after that defeat at home against Manchester United. And we've been asking you guys at home what you think. D. Sanchez has said Nuno definitely didn't deserve to get the sack at this early stage. He deserved more time. He came in at dark times at Tottenham. He needed the January transfer window to build his team. And Kound has said Nuno is a capable manager but lacked in managing Newcastle United. That's an interesting point. Hashtag PL fans.
That would be a story, wouldn't it? This one from Lam Wrong Pen, who says Spurs did not give Nuno enough time to settle down. Pochettino's first season in charge, 2014-15, wasn't smooth sailing at the start until Kane began to play. After finishing 5th, they achieved great heights under Poch, qualifying for the Champions League for 4 straight seasons. Keep your thoughts on Nuno sacking coming in. Use the hashtag PL fans. Plenty more big stories coming up after the breaks as well. We'll, of course, have any more updates coming out of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on potential Nuno's replacement. Whatever news we have, we'll hear it first here